We continue with amino acid metabolism. We have discussed how amino acids are released from digestion and absorption of proteins in GIT. These amino acids constitute part of the amino acid pool. Amino acid pool and ammonia is our today's discussion topic. Free amino acids distributed throughout the body are about 100 grams and they are called amino acid pool. Of the 100 gram, about 50% is in the form of the amino acid glutamate or glutamine. Sources of amino acid for amino acid pool. There are major three sources which provide amino acid to amino acid pool. First one is dietary protein, that is in the digestion and absorption which takes place in GIT provides amino acid to amino acid pool. Second source is endogenous hydrolysis of body proteins. The body proteins, they are hydrolyzed by proteolytic enzymes and they provide amino acids. The last one we can include the amino acids, those called as non-essential amino acids, which are synthesized in our body from their corresponding keto acid by transamination. Fate of amino acid pool. The amino acid pool provides the starting material for anabolic pathway and catabolic pathway of amino acid metabolism. Let us see the anabolic pathway. In anabolic pathway, synthesis of tissue proteins like enzymes, hormones, etc. takes place, whereas synthesis of specialized products is also a part of anabolic pathway of amino acid pool. Here, each amino acid enters into the structure of some products of special for it. For example, glycine enters into the structure of creatine, heme, etc. Synthesis of small peptide is also part of the anabolic pathways. For example, glutathione is synthesized from glycine, cysteine, and glutamate. Second part is catabolic pathways providing amino acid to amino acid pool. It involves removal of amino group NH2 group from amino acid by transamination and deamination process. The resulting products are ammonia, urea, and keto acids. Alpha keto acids are further metabolized to be completely oxidized into CO2, H2O, or maybe converted into glucogenic amino acids, or fatty acids and ketones, ketogenic amino acids. This diagram shows the review of catabolic and anabolic pathways which are concerned with amino acid pool. On the top, the three big arrows shows the major sources of amino acid to amino acid pool that includes body proteins which are after proteolytic digestion add amino acids to amino acid pool, then dietary proteins which after hydrolysis in GIT, they are absorbed and they provide the amino acid to amino acid pool. Synthesis of non-essential amino acids from their respective keto acid is also a big source for amino acids in the amino acid pool. Now we go to the anabolic pathways which take the amino acids from amino acid pool. Amino acids are taken for synthesis of specialized products like heme, creatine, etc. Amino acids are taken for synthesis of body protein. Amino acids are converted into ammonia in their respective keto acids. The keto acids further metabolized into glucose, ketone bodies, and carbon dioxide and water. Or the free ammonia evolved during this is converted into urea by urea cycle. General catabolic pathways of amino acid include transamination, deamination, transamination, that transdeamination, that is transamination followed by deamination, and last is the decarboxylation. Transamination may be defined as the transfer of amino group from alpha amino acid to keto acid from a new alpha to form a new amino acid and a new keto acid. Silent features of transamination, that is enzymes called transaminases or aminotransferases catalyze the transamination reaction. Pyridoxal phosphate (PLP), active vitamin B6, is the coenzyme of all transaminases. All amino acids except lysine, threonine, proline, and hydroxyproline may undergo transamination. All transamination reactions are reversible. All transaminases are present either in cytosol of or in both cytosol and mitochondria of most of the tissue. Among all the transaminases, three are present in most mammalian tissues and they are of clinical importance. They are ALT, alanine aminotransferase, AST, aspartate aminotransferase, and glutamate aminotransferase. Let us take one by one. First is alanine transaminase ALT. ALT, also called as serum glutamate pyruvate transaminase. ALT is present in the cytosol of the cell. ALT is an enzyme that catalyzes the transfer of amino group from alanine to alpha ketoglutarate to form glutamate and pyruvate. The reaction is reversible. Here is the diagrammatic representation of transamination reaction of ALT. That is, in this reaction, there is the alanine and alpha ketoglutarate take part. Alanine is the amino acid which gives away its amino group to alpha ketoglutarate, thereby converting it into glutamate. This reaction is catalyzed by alanine aminotransferase and the coenzyme required is pyridoxal phosphate. Second example of aminotransferase is aspartate transaminase AST. AST is also called as serum glutamate oxaloacetate transaminase, that is SGOT. AST is present in both cytosol and mitochondria of the cell. AST is an enzyme that catalyzes the transfer of amino group from aspartate to alpha ketoglutarate to form glutamate and oxaloacetate. This reaction is also reversible. The enzyme now last from this series is glutamate transaminase. The enzyme catalyzes the transfer of amino group from many amino acids to alpha ketoglutarate, thereby forming glutamate and respective keto acid. Transfer of amino group we will list the important functions of transamination. One of the very important function of transamination is to transfer the amino group from most of the amino acids to keto acid to form glutamate and the respective keto acids. Glutamate is then deaminated to give ammonia. Note, this reaction only gives the free ammonia, otherwise the transamino reaction does not provide free ammonia. Transamination is important for the formation of non-essential amino acids through reactions of alpha keto acid with glutamate. That is, glutamate will give its amino group to the alpha keto acids of all non-essential amino acids and thereby converting those alpha keto acids into amino acids that are called as non-essential amino acids. Role of pyridoxal phosphate in transamination. The coenzymic form of vitamin B6 pyridoxal phosphate is a coenzyme that acts as an intermediate carrier of amino group from amino acid to keto acid. Here is the diagrammatic representation of importance of pyridoxal phosphate or role of pyridoxal phosphate in transamination. On the left side we see glutamate is converted into alpha ketoglutarate by giving away its amino group to pyridoxylamine, which converts pyridoxal phosphate, which gets converted into pyridoxylamine phosphate. This pyridoxylamine phosphate in the second step gives away its amino group to pyruvate, thereby converting it into alanine and itself get converted into pyridoxal phosphate. The interconversion of pyridoxal phosphate and pyridoxylamine phosphate during transamination reaction takes place. Now we go to second class of reaction, deamination. By definition, it is the removal of amino group from amino acid in the form of ammonia. The site of deamination is always liver and kidney. Now we have types of deamination. First is oxidative deamination. Second is non-oxidative deamination. In oxidative deamination, we can have three classes. That is oxidative deamination catalyzed by glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme, oxidative deamination catalyzed by N-amino acid oxidase, and oxidative deamination catalyzed by D-amino acid oxidase enzyme. Non-oxidative deamination for hydroxy group containing amino acids like serine, threonine. By oxidative deamination reaction, the both oxidation, that is removal of hydrogen, and deamination, that is removal of amino group, takes place together. It occurs together. Oxidative deamination by L-glutamate dehydrogenase. It is highly active enzyme catalyze the deamination of L-glutamate amino acid. This enzyme is present in both cytosol and mitochondria of most tissues. Its coenzyme is either NAD or NADH. Here's the reaction or pathway of glutamate dehydrogenase. Glutamate dehydrogenase acts on glutamate in presence of NADH and convert it into alpha aminoglutamic acid. NADH is reduced to NADPH. The enzyme is called as glutamate dehydrogenase. This first part of the reaction gives alpha glutamic acid, which is then converted into alpha glutamic acid by addition of one water molecule and conversion of amino acid into an amino acid, keto acid. Regulation of glutamate dehydrogenase. The activity of the glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme can be increased, or it can be activated, or can be decreased, or it can be slowed down, depending upon the biological requirement of the system. Compounds like ATP, GTP, and NADH allosterically inhibit L-glutamate dehydrogenase, thereby slowing down the speed of the reaction. Whereas compounds like ADP, GDP stimulates the enzyme and increase the activity of the enzyme. So it is obvious that presence of ATP, GTP, and NADH indicates the system is rich with energy and the activity of the enzyme is slowed down. But presence of ADP, GTP indicate that the system is in need of energy, and when it is in need of energy, these compounds they stimulate the enzyme and increase the activity of the enzyme. Now we list functions of glutamate dehydrogenase. Removal of amino group of most amino acid is as ammonia is the major function of glutamate dehydrogenase. As described above, in transamination, the amino group of most of the amino acids is finally transferred to ketoglutarate to form L-glutamate. The very active L-glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme then deaminates L-glutamate, producing free ammonia and alpha-ketoglutarate. Both reactions are called transdeamination. This provides a pathway by which the amino group of most of the amino acids can be released as ammonia. This reaction prominently occurs in liver where urea cycle enzymes are present which will take away the ammonia and convert it into urea. Now, formation of non-essential amino acids. This is the other major function of glutamate dehydrogenase. The reaction is catalyzed by glutamate dehydrogenase. It is reversible. Ketoglutarate can be reaminated by free ammonia to form glutamate. The glutamate can also be transaminated with the desired alpha-keto acid to form the corresponding new amino acids. This way, all the 10 non-essential amino acids they are synthesized in the body from their respective keto acids. Now we go to non-oxidative deamination. This occurs for hydroxy amino acids like serine, threonine. This occurs without removal of hydrogen, that is non-oxidative, converting the amino acid into ketoacid pyruvate. Its coenzyme in pyridoxal is pyridoxal phosphate. Transdeamination, a combined reaction where it's transamination of most of the amino acid with a keto acid to form the glutamate is first part. The glutamate is deaminated to give ammonia is the second part of transdeamination reaction. It is the main pathway by which amino group of most of amino acids is released in the form of ammonia. We have already discussed the before the deamination of L-glutamate by L-glutamate dehydrogenase gives free ammonia. Last reaction of this series is decarboxylation. Decarboxylation, that is removal of carbon dioxide of an amino acid product, produces the corresponding amine. Very physiologically very important amines are produced by this reaction. For example, histamine, camaminobutyric acid, tyramine, like that. Some amines have important biological functions like histamine from histidine is vasodilator. Gamma-butyric acid from glutamate is neurotransmitter. We can give many examples of this type. Now, we have discussed till now the reactions which were providing us ammonia. That is, amino acids are first, they give away their amino group to alpha ketoglutarate to form glutamate. That glutamate formed in the peripheral tissue is brought to the liver. There in the liver, other enzyme called as glutamate dehydrogenase will act on those amino acids and will convert them into keto acid and ammonia. This ammonia is not allowed to accumulate. It's very poisonous and toxic. So liver has got a very active pathway enzyme system which can convert ammonia into urea, a non-toxic compound. So ammonia is a toxic substance, especially to the central nervous system. Any ammonia formation in the peripheral tissue must be moved to the liver to be converted into urea. This maintains ammonia at low level in circulating blood. Blood contains traces of ammonia, that is from 10 to 80 microgram per deciliter. Now, the different sources of ammonia, the transdeamination of amino acids may in many tissues, particularly liver, form ammonia from amino acids by transdeamination. Glutamine in the other tissues like kidney, glutamine forms ammonia from glutamine. It is the glutaminase which forms ammonia from glutamine by the enzyme action. Most of this ammonia is used in regulation of acid-base balance by the kidney. That is renal regulation of acid-base balance. Apart from this, we will be discussing catabolism of pyridine and purines in nucleotide metabolism. These purines and pyrimidines, they also give ammonia by their catabolism. Added to this, various nitrogenous compounds, for example, monoamines that act as a neurotransmitter, they also provide ammonia. In intestine, ammonia is produced by the action of intestinal bacterial enzymes on these compounds. Apart from that, diethylamine acids and urea secreted into the intestine is also acted upon by the bacterial enzymes to give ammonia. Fate of ammonia. Formation of non-essential amino acids through trans-deamination reactions. Formation of urea, it is the main pathway by which the body can get rid of ammonia. Then this urea form is excreted in urine. Along with this urea, ammonia is also excreted in urine. Formation of glutamine is other pathway which will condense ammonia with glutamate to form glutamine. Glutamine has the following functions. Regulation of acid-base balance, as already we told, that in kidney, glutamine is deaminated by the glutaminase enzyme, releasing ammonia. Again, ammonia is used by the kidney in regulation of acid-base balance. Second is removal of the toxic effects of ammonia in the brain. Ammonia combines with glutamate to give glutamine. This reaction is elevated when there is a high level of ammonia coming to brain. That is very toxic to the brain. So that ammonia is removed by incorporating it into the glutamate. Glutamate is the source of N3 and N9 nitrogen of purine bases. Glutamine is used in detoxification of phenyl acetic acid to give which is toxic substance. Say ammonia intoxication or ammonia toxicity. Ammonia is very toxic. It acts on the CNS and causes severe ammonia toxicity symptoms like blurring of the vision, slurring of the speech, and vomiting in infancy. High concentration of ammonia may also cause coma and death. This diagram shows the mechanism of ammonia toxicity. That you see, diet provides by the dietary amino acids, the dietary proteins. They provide the amino acids, and these amino acids are converted into their respective keto acids, and side by side glutamate is alpha ketoglutarate is converted into glutamate. By this reaction is catalyzed by aminotransferases. This glutamate then get oxidized by glutamate dehydrogenase to give ammonia and converting NAD to NADP to NADPH. This ammonia also form is utilized for the formation of urea in the liver, and that urea is get excreted. Apart from this, glutamine that also gives ammonia by glutaminase reaction, and that ammonia can also be utilized back to form glutamine. This type of reaction they occur in kidney. Once this ammonia is converted into urea, that urea is excreted into urine by kidney. The ammonia if the level of ammonia is increased, then the ammonia also can be excreted in the urine. Then again, I am repeating that ammonia intoxication. Excess ammonia is toxic to the central nervous system. The conditions called as ammonia intoxication or hyperammonemia. Symptoms of ammonia intoxication are flapping tremors, slurring of speech, blurring of vision, and vomiting in infancy. High concentration of ammonia may cause coma and death. The diagram is very interesting. You will ever remember that ammonia causes blurring of vision, slurring of speech, vomiting in infancy, and the high concentration causes coma that ultimately result into death. The ammonia concentration is also responsible for flapping tremors. These are the symptoms of ammonia toxicity. In case of hyperammonemia, ammonia reacts with this is mechanism how ammonia causes the symptoms of ammonia toxicity. That is, ammonia reacts with ketoglutarate in the presence of glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme apart from reaction with glutamate. Depletion of alpha ketoglutarate and a second an essential intermediate of citric acid cycle. So this results into decreased levels of alpha ketoglutarate. That causes decrease in the ATP and energy level of the brain, and that will result into malfunctioning of the brain, and we call it, we see the symptoms of ammonia intoxication, that is blurring of the vision, slurring of the vision, with speech, vomiting, flapping movement, etc. So this way we have completed the general review of the ammonia formation, transport and utilization as a main pathway which utilizes which removes from the ammonia from the body is urea cycle. That we will take up in the next session. Next session will be on urea cycle enzymes, the steps of urea cycle and its relation with the citric acid cycle, and the enzymes, the 5 enzymes which catalyze the conversion of ammonia into urea cycle. Thank you.